big nest of piracy. And the only way to stamp out piracy is to have a strong central government. Now, originally, you had the Byzantine government that was pretty strong, and that put a lid on it, and maybe the Southern Arabian government. But as things deteriorated by the 500s, serious commercial activity on the Red Sea was really not happening to that extent. Okay? So, that made the caravan routes and trades more important. Now, the caravan routes what were the caravan routes trying to do? What were they bringing? What was their point? They were bringing the produce of Southern Arabia, which was desirable, north to various locations, whether to Mesopotamia or the Mediterranean, Egypt, Palestine, the sea routes of the Mediterranean, Rome, and so on. And we already told you what was important down there, which was incense, frankincense, myrrh, aromatic tree resins. Aromatic tree resins that had been in Southern Arabia in the days of the Sabaeans and others, gathered in almost a religious manner. In fact, it was a religious activity to gather these tree resins, which were then fed into the commercial activity of the area and created this view of the Romans of Arabia Felix, happy Arabia, and this interesting construction complex, waterwork, aqueduct, dike management situation probably worked better than New Orleans, and so on. That we see the archaeological remains of, and the impressions of which are left in these stories that we touched on in the Nicholson book. So, the caravan routes went north and south. Now, what they brought south, I don't know. I have to be honest with you. I don't know what was being brought south except money. The same as oil is coming out of Arabia now, and what's going to Arabia? Well, I guess Western products and money. But what was going down on the caravans, I guess manufactured goods maybe, who knows? I really can't. But there are other materials coming through this Southern Arabian traffic. Materials from further east, spices from India, silks from China and stuff. And this Southern Arabia here really became the transit point for these for whatever of a Far East trade there was. From India over here and China further east. In fact, I saw a television documentary recently about a Chinese flotilla that came west to these areas and actually landed on the coast of Africa and Southern Arabia and tried to impose some military order in this area, and some of the ships were wrecked, and some of the people, I think, stayed in Zanzibar and places like that. So the Chinese were aware of these areas and did send a flotilla. I think this was around 1200, I think. But in fact, there were connections. Mostly the South India trade, which was, on the whole, what came from India? Spices. Spices. I've been to Cochin. Cochin is on the Malabar coast. And you just walk down the central street of the market there, and you see all these little sort of bags full of these looks like little root sort of things. And what's the name of that spice? It's a famous spice. I can't remember what it's called, but in any case, it's one of the key Malabar coast spices that was sent west, and they're still selling it there in the markets in great amounts. I'm trying to think of what those little pieces of root are called in Western parlance. Any of you are familiar with spices? Can name a few for me, and I'll tell you which one it
Ginger.
is.
Cinnamon.
Ginger, that's what it is, ginger. You got it, first one, ginger. It is ginger. Yeah, those were kind of the root or whatever it is they extract or get ginger out of, you know, or make ginger from. Yeah, that's what it was, ginger. And